When you grab a taco from a cart or a hot dog from a stand, you're doing more than just buying lunch. You're actually plugging into this massive, ancient system that's been running our cities for centuries. Street food, it isn't just about what's on the menu. Nope. It's really a powerful lens that shows us how our cities work, who they're really for, and maybe most importantly, who gets to decide what they become. So let's peel back the layers and see what's really cooking on our city streets.
All right, we're going to break this all down in 4 parts. First up, we'll look at why street food is basically the city's essential fuel source. Then we'll see how it acts as an economic ladder for so many entrepreneurs. After that, we'll dive into the modern conflict that's blowing up on city streets, a whole new kind of food fight. And finally, we're going to ask the biggest question of all. Whose street is it anyway? Okay, so let's start with the basics. Street food is not some new hip trend. It's a really old solution to a problem that cities have always had. How in the world do you feed a massive, busy, constantly moving population and do it quickly and affordably?
And that's the simple truth of it. The sidewalk has always been the city's original dining room. It's a concept that's as old as the city itself, baked right into the DNA of urban life.
I mean, just look at how deep these roots go. In ancient Rome, you had these places called thermopolia slinging what was basically an early hamburger. During China's Tang Dynasty, night markets were these vibrant hubs of commerce and culture. Fast forward to 19th century New York, and it's push carts feeding the very workers building the city. And then in 2008, a single truck in LA, the Kogi BBQ truck, used Twitter to kickstart the entire gourmet food truck revolution we know today. It just proves the street is still the ultimate laboratory for food.
So why the street? Well, it's pretty simple cause and effect, really. You pack millions of people together in dense city blocks. You give them demanding jobs with barely any time for a lunch break. You put a lot of them in tiny apartments with little to no kitchen space. What do you get? You get a massive built-in demand for fast, affordable food you can eat on the move. The city itself creates the problem that street food perfectly solves.
Okay, so let's flip to the other side of the cart for a minute. If the city creates the demand, well, it also creates the supplier. For countless people, street vending isn't just a job, it's an absolute engine of opportunity. Think about it. The barrier to entry is pretty low, right? You don't need a massive business loan or a fancy degree. For immigrants, for the working class, for anyone who's been kind of shut out of the formal economy, a simple cart can be the most direct path to starting a business. It's a foothold. And this quote from a street vendor in Chicago, wow, it just gets right to the heart of it. This isn't always about choosing a dream career. A lot of the time, it's about escaping exploitation. When a regular job means grueling hours for what amounts to poverty wages, the freedom and autonomy of the street, well, it starts to look like a really smart, rational choice. But studies show it goes way deeper than just the money. For a mom who needs to schedule her work around her kid's school day, the factory floor is impossible, but a food cart offers that flexibility. For an older worker who's facing ageism, the street is a way to keep earning. It gives you control, autonomy, and a real direct connection to the community you're serving. And just listen to the pride in that statement. This is not unskilled labor. This is customer service, it's product R&D, it's marketing. It's all happening on a single street corner. It's about building real relationships and perfecting your craft, one customer at a time. So this brings us to the central conflict. What happens when two different groups of people are doing basically the exact same thing, selling food on the street, but the city sees and values them in completely different ways? This, my friends, is the new food fight. Okay, to really get what's going on here, you have to understand this concept of the creative class. It's this theory that for modern cities to really thrive, they have to attract these highly skilled professionals in tech, media, and the arts. And how do they do that? By building a city that's full of the things this class wants: a cool culture, unique experiences, and, you guessed it, interesting food. And there it is, right there in that quote. You can see that idea playing out in real time. A Chicago politician looked at gourmet food trucks and didn't just see lunch. He sought a status symbol. They were the missing piece needed to brand Chicago as a world-class creative hub, the perfect place for that coveted creative class to come live and work. And this is where the whole thing just collides. Look at this breakdown from the research done in Chicago. For the immigrant vendor, the city's perception was public health risk, traffic nuisance. But for the gourmet food truck, oh, that was an exciting creative contribution. The immigrant vendor fought for decades to change the laws and got nowhere. The food trucks, they got a new ordinance in just 2 years. It's the exact same activity happening in the exact same public space, but being treated like it's from two different planets. This number, $1,500? That's how much a single ticket could cost an immigrant vendor during a police crackdown. For a small, cash-based business, a fine like that isn't just a penalty, it's a potential death sentence for your entire livelihood.
So it forces us to ask the one question that was at the absolute heart of that Chicago research. When city leaders talk about creating a creative city, whose creativity are they actually talking about? And whose is being ignored, or worse, being criminalized? So let's pull the lens back. This fight in Chicago, it's not some one-off thing. It's happening in cities all over the world. And it really boils down to one huge, fundamental question about the future of all of our urban spaces. And here's the bottom line. This was never really about tacos versus cupcakes. It's about power. It's a battle over public space. It's a battle over economic opportunity. And it's a battle over who has the right to leave their mark on a city's culture and its character. The city's sidewalk becomes this battleground for competing ideas. Is it an economic engine for the working class, or is it a public nuisance that needs to be cleaned up? Is its value in that gritty, authentic culture, or in some kind of curated, corporate-approved vibrancy? At the end of the day, it's a clash between the right of everyday working people to exist in the city and the very specific tastes of the creative class that politicians are so desperate to attract. And that brings it all right back to us, doesn't it? Because every dollar we spend is like casting a vote. The little choices we make every day, where we decide to eat lunch, which businesses we support, they're all small but powerful acts that help build the character of our neighborhoods and our cities. So the next time you're heading out to grab a bite, it's worth asking yourself, what kind of city am I choosing to build today?